Good Friday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about all my cars and trucks, SUVs, motorcycles, the dogs, the weather, the pond. Hey, the pond is like freezing over. Wow, that'd be a miracle if it froze over. I don't think it will. It just hasn't been cold enough consistently up in this area for these past few winters. But hey, Friday morning. To all those that watch my channel, wow, it's Friday already, and we are on the cusp of Christmas time, to season to be jolly. So, hey, thanks for everybody that tunes in my channel, watches my channel, and listens to me gab away and do all the goofy things I do in life to make you feel like you're normal, versus the guy you're looking at here is probably not so normal. I get all that. Get the Wildtrak Bronco. Look at that Azura Gray. Nothing's so nice. Such a great vehicle. And I think that I did the right thing of getting rid of that Ford Mustang for the Ford Bronco. I think that's a great choice. I think my Wagoneer that I've wanted my whole life, I've always have wanted a Jeep Wagoneer since I was a kid in Jersey. I can remember seeing those boxy Wagoneers back in the day and always wanted one. And I waited so many years ago, and I think I did okay. The Jeep Grand Cherokee, I've had so many of these vehicles. They're great vehicles. And I think that I did really well picking up a really freshly used Iceman type of car with a V8 motor in it. Wow. You're hearing the word I think. Think. There you go. I think the dogs are behaving. Or are they? So yes, what is today's conversation? Think. I thought to myself, have we had the think conversation per se? And I thought to myself, the week of Monday, the breakout, Tuesday, connections, Wednesday, story, Thursday, blah, 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 Friday, think. It's just so much information that I just, it's information overload, because it's constantly me trying to bring content to a YouTube channel that brings people back to watch it over and over again. And Kiefer Boy, he is on a mission. And what is his mission? As we go into the garage with yet another purchase. And I'm sure some may think I'm just nuts. And in so many ways, right. Incredible. Problem with me is, the way I think, I get fixated on wanting something. Until I get it, I just don't stop. That's my challenge in life. And it's a huge challenge. Because I start thinking about something, and then I just don't stop thinking about it. Excuse me, this early morning. Am I just borderline like ragged out? Yeah, for the most part. I think you can even hear it in my voice this morning. Just, oh my gosh, just doesn't end with all the stories. Yeah, the breakout from Monday, and storytelling, and the young conversation. Yeah, so I guess it was breakout, connections, then story, then young, and then today is the think conversations. And Kiefer wants to harass my little girl, so he's just sitting here waiting to harass her. Come on, Ginger, let's go. Get up here. Stop it. Leave her alone. No, get up there, girl. Go on. He just wants to go harass her. That's all he wants to do. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. You get up there and behave. Yeah, right. All right, so lights, camera, and action as we get the shop all lit up. And man, my voice this morning, I don't know what it is. I guess I am. There's some stuffy. Look at this here. What a motorcycle. I mean, I think that thing is just a really cool looking motorcycle. First Softail series Harley I've ever owned. And yet, yes, here's the Honda Gullwing. Yes, and here's the Triumph. And as we go back in the collection of all my vehicles and get the lights on, as I think to myself, what's next, right? Somebody's like, what do you mean, what's next? You're already, I just saw a little mouse buddy running the back there. Can't catch him. Some of these traps just don't accurate. I know people were telling me put peanut butter on a cotton thing, spray rodent spray, blah, blah, blah. Some people be like, put mice bait down. No way. That's how you kill your dog. I have a sad story of the dogs, those Wheaton Terriers that we have. Maybe I'll tell you that in a second. But so anyways, what do I think? I think that I've become the Harley guy. Have reverted back to being the Harley guy when I so left Harley Davidson so many years ago because of Indian. I mean, sincerely, Indian truly ruined my love for the Harley product. Yes, if I would have had a YouTube channel going strong back in 2019 and 2020, you really would have seen more of how I was like total. And in so many ways, I do have YouTube channels, videos of me being very critical of Harley Davidson and feeling that Indian is by far the superior product to the Harley product. I mean, I really did. And I just totally got away from Harley Davidson for the most part. Always had a Harley, but I didn't have like 3-4 Harleys. And then if you watch the channel, you know, it's the kid that kind of changed me back to the Harley brand. And it was that Street Bob motorcycle yesterday that I traded in. Even when my daughter got home last night from hanging out with her best friend yesterday, she was like, oh my gosh, this is mine. I'm like, yeah, it's yours, mine. And I was like, yeah. But then she kind of took a moment. It's like the Street Bob. I let go of my Street Bob. I'm like, right, you had to give something up to make anything make sense. And then she kind of had that moment of lapse of, why'd I do that? Because the Street Bob was her first Harley Davidson motorcycle she ever had. And she just kind of had that feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure about that. So, but then she kind of looked at this more and sat on it. And then she started to think to herself, you know what? This is a more fun, totally different ride. I said, look, you know, you already got a Dyna. You got a Lowrider ST. You're basically your Street Bob and your Lowrider ST are the same motorcycle. Different engine, little different style, but you already had that. Why do you just want two of the same in so many ways of that same series Dyna motorcycle? You should, you know, you have a soft tail. I mean, good Lord, to me, that's really badass. Kind of like you have one car, then you have a Bronco. I mean, you have a Challenger over here, and then you've got a Mustang out here, just two different vehicles. And why wouldn't you be more? And she's like, yeah, that's true. That's true. So the way she was thinking changed, but at the same time, we all know we kind of think things, and then it's hard to break that way we think about things. And that's a huge challenge, and it's always been a challenge, man. Totally congested, and so my apologies for anybody watching my channel, and I'm kind of sounding a little raggy here, but when you talk every day of your life, and you do the things I do, it takes a lot out of you. Whether you realize it or not, to go shopping and spend money, it takes a hell of a lot out of you. So, and to drive up there to get that bike, that was a 5-hour process. It took me in the Ford Raptor 37, which I just love this truck. I really do. What is it about the 37-inch tire package? Is it because it has a higher gear ratio in the back end? And I think it does, but I could be wrong. It just makes no sense. I think it has a 410, but it's kind of confusing because it sounds like it has a 410 gear ratio up at the front end or something. I don't know. Some of you out there is smarter than me maybe weighs in and say, yeah, the Ford 37 has a 410 rear end in it, and the 335 has a 373 rear end in it. This thing is just so fast. And it would make sense because a bigger tire would definitely make this thing bog down in not a higher gear rear end. So I would think it would. And so, yeah, yesterday, if you watch my video, it's crazy. The Canadians don't have a flat pin connector on the back end. If I didn't have this little plug, that's a universal plug right here, where you can adapt it into your 5-way or 7-way or whatever, I wouldn't have been able to use this truck yesterday to tow. I would have had to take something else. This trailer has truly worked out to be such a great trailer, so versatile for me to do so many things, because yesterday I was getting 15.7 miles per gallon at high speeds. Now, if I would have taken this trailer has so much wind resistance, I'm sure I'd have been at like 10 miles per gallon. I mean, 8. What I usually see in these V6 turbo setups, the Bronco, my other Raptors, you're seeing like 8 miles per gallon because there's just so much wind resistance. So I think that was a great idea And what I do, the whole point is, I was just saying, oh my gosh, what a day. It took me last night close to 3 hours to get home. The traffic was horrendous in the last, well, it wasn't too bad at 95, but then around the Beltway in Baltimore, it was all locked down. Then 70, it was a long, long 5 hours of just driving time, not including me having to get all the paperwork done. So, what a long day. Here's the Super B. What do you think of that? One gentleman on my YouTube channel brought up a good point. And I don't disagree. I need to get that in the garage. And it's really been more about showing off the motorcycles, the new motorcycles. And for sure, I'm going to get these other motorcycles rearranged and get that thing back in the shop to kind of keep it locked down and to get it out of the weather. But I've always have kept my cars outside. And here's the story. But everybody will say, well, of course, because you never keep them long enough, so what difference does it make? And it's true. But I have had some cars that have had a few years that have been out in the environment here, and if you don't really stay on top of them, they really do degrade. I had a Land Rover, and that thing was terrible. I had a red, it wasn't Defender, Discovery Land Rover, and that paint thing was just bad. It deteriorated so bad after having like 2 years. Yeah, you heard me, I had it 2 years. The poor truck is getting so ignored. Oh, big news. The Lethal Performance package with the AWE catback exhaust is coming in today. So hopefully next week we can get the Bronco over to Max Custom Garage and get the new exhaust on it. I just love the noise of that AW exhaust. My kid claims, following me the other day in this Raptor, that when I have this thing in the highest mode of the exhaust note, it actually sounds really good. Inside of it, you don't really hear it as well. On that truck there, you actually hear it pretty damn good. So I'm very content on that. And it would be nice to have a little more throaty exhaust, but I don't know. Kind of leave it at that. It's just always about spending money. That's the next thing, when you think about me, I'm sure some people are like, this guy's just crazy. I mean, he just spends so much money and he just pisses all his money away. And in so many ways, yeah, I don't disagree. True. But at the same time, I try to keep things in balance to a degree where most of the time it's a trade. It's a trade for a trade. Just like that KTM motorcycle, I traded in my nice Honda CRF 300L to go towards that bike to make it make sense. The Harley Davidson here, it was really hard to come to closure to take the Harley Davidson financial high rate to get this bike. But I started thinking to myself, if you think it through, I have the Performance Finance Freedom Road, that's the same conglomerate that I have 3 loans on. The one is the Triumph. And with those guys, I got I think an 8.99% rate on this Triumph motorcycle. And then the same thing back here with this Indian. And then I've got the Pursuit, same thing. I got like an 8% finance rate when I bought that Indian Pursuit back in September. Actually, August 28th, I believe. And so, for me, I really want to break out, and if the Indian Pursuit deal would go down, it would free up me a new account so I could buy the Breakout through Freedom Road, and I would get a really low rate. But at the same time, I'd have a problem. There'd be a Street Bob motorcycle still sitting in my garage or in my trailer. So what I got to thinking about is I'm making a payment on that motorcycle, and that rate's not a very good rate. I bought that thing September last year, and it was a high rate, just like another Harley I bought down there from Wrecking Crew that knows how to wreck the deals. Good Lord, Wrecking Crew. If you guys are listening, a lot of the guys aren't even there anymore if they even watch my channel. But man, you guys, doggone it, you guys really abuse the policy of pulling the wool over people's eyes and selling motorcycles. It's really bad. So anyways, the whole point is I kind of came to closure that it wouldn't make any sense to add another motorcycle on the Harley line and be paying double payments in so many ways when it's the kid's bike in so many ways. So that's why I was like, you know what? If you think it through, wouldn't you be smarter just to trade the other bike in towards that bike and then just make bigger payments on the loan to pay down the loan faster so the interest rates don't kill you? I mean, hello. I mean, that's a smart thing to do. The other smart thing is you pay down the loan quicker and you refinance the thing eventually in your kid's name because the kid feels like that's her bike, which in so many ways it is. But can I ride it? Of course. But that's how I think. That's what goes on. A lot of people that watch my channel, I'm just sort of like, I just don't understand how this guy thinks and what he does, and that's the challenge. And yeah, that's it. My wife all the time over the years has challenged me on all these cars I buy, and it's like, you have an addiction, and I'm just say, yeah, right, I do. Do I try to make the argument that I don't? I mean, I don't do that. I just tell it the way it is. So for me, it could be blunt. It could be rude, but for me in life, it's like, just tell it the way it is. And that's challenging for a lot of people because they don't sometimes want to share with people really how they think. I mean, that's a very challenging issue in life. Look at Elon Musk. Always talking about Elon Musk. Here's a guy that got the Twitter to X, and people really seeing really how he thinks, and it's irritated a lot of people, and now realize how he actually thinks. Here's the ongoing electric vehicles, which, it's incredible. What's going on in the electric car market? Do you even want to think to hear that conversation? As it's more like, hey man, we're really enjoying looking at the brand new Harley Davidson Breakout, and I'm sure for many, I've already had some comments. Their thoughts were, I was going to buy a white Breakout Harley Davidson, and which, I think that was. But what's really interesting to me is I initially saw this bike, this color, and that's what I wanted. I realized always kind of fixated on this, but then the kid gets involved and sure thinks she likes something else. But the white one, really nice. Here's the challenge. The white one is a brand new one, 2024, and it's no discount per se because it's too new. This is a 23 that has an incredible discount. Now, full disclosure, I'm not embellishing here. The dealership, and everybody's watching my channel, I'm sure they'll say, nah, dealerships don't sell things for a loss. They're just lying to you. Okay, I think you could be possibly right, but I think you could also be possibly wrong because that Harley-Davidson Street Bob I bought is now valued on trade-in of less than $10,000. And guess how much money I owed that motorcycle that Wrecking Crew got me for? I owe $20,000 that motorcycle. And that bike, brand new. It's ridiculous what those guys got away with at Wrecking Crew. They totally abused, but that was during the still ongoing pandemic-related challenges of getting motorcycles. So the used motorcycle market, the used car market was stupid crazy. So they got us good on that. So, but now the challenge is getting rid of that motorcycle for something else without me having to spend $10,000 to get rid of it. Or I just put it in the market. Good luck. So Steve up there at the Baltimore dealership, this supposedly is like a $22,000 motorcycle. Now, if you go to the typical dealership, they're going to put the setup and freight on it. So you're going to be basically like 23 and change. Then you put tax and tags on it, blah, blah, blah. Administration fees, whatever. You could very easily be at 25, 26 grand on this motorcycle. And that's probably a guarantee anybody out there has bought these that does business as a dealer, it's not aggressive. They probably, my bike was like 25 grand out the door, 26 grand out the door. So Steve, he worked a deal where he showed giving me like 14 grand trade on my Street Bob, 4 grand more than actually it's even worth. And then he discounted this bike down to like 19 grand and then no add-on fees. But the real story is he really discounted this bike down much more than that, but he just tried to make the deal look the right way by giving me a heavy trade. But in his words, he was like, I'm taking a loss on this bike, but they're a volume dealer, and he's like, whatever, and you've bought a bunch of bikes from us. And it's sure, did I buy the Gap insurance for $300? I did, which that's very inexpensive. Do you know how much they want for Gap insurance now when you do commercial through Ford Motor Credit? At one time, it was $600. Then it went to $900. Then it went to $1,200. Now it's $1,700 for Gap commercial. So I bought that Ford Bronco over there for Gap insurance, meaning you owe more than the vehicle be worth if you crashed it. It's $1,700. Ah! Wow. Everything's gotten so expensive. What do people think that's going on? And that's why I brought up the Think conversation this morning, because I have the Monroney sticker for my first Bronco versus this Bronco I have now. But anyways, going back to this, so then he's like, you should get extended warranty. And I'm like, well, how much is that? And once again, this dealer is very aggressive. He said, I'll give you a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty. And I know Harley has a warranty out of the gate, but he gave me 3-year for $400. He's like, look, take the warranty, because the bank is basing this loan on this bike with you getting that warranty because you're buried into this damn bike. Yeah, right. Then the day, yeah, right. I just buried negative equity to another deal. Some be like, well, that was stupid. Okay, I don't disagree. But at the end of the day, the payment is the same payment as the other bike. So, and I'd have to put a ton of money down. Yeah, I had to put some money down to cover the tax and tags. But at the end of the day, it's the same payment as the other bike because they got us good another bike. And I think this is the more fun bike. So in my book, I think let's have this. But that's just the way I think. It's just always the angle, just like the Honda Goldwing here. Once again, here's a purchase that I was even taken back that Honda took the deal with no trade, which I'm very happy about that because I really want to trade something that would have negative equity in it. And there's the challenge. Those that watch my channel, when you buy these new cars as fast and as often as I do, unless you're putting down huge sums of money, you can't get out of these things. I have friends and people that own very nice vehicles, and then they can't get out of them because the odds are you traded something for something, and when you do that, and then you don't put a ton of money down, you're now upside down, and you're going to have to keep that car for many years, or you're going to have to get the checkbook out and write the $10,000 check minimum to get out of that negative equity that you created yourself, the vehicle you have. It's huge in the automotive industry, motorcycle industry. It's the loan to value. It's huge. Banks will loan up to 120+% of loan value of the vehicle to include the people that have negative equity in their cars because they're like the Iceman. They buy something, they keep it a while, and then they get rid of it. So now here's the challenge. Here is the Challenger Indian that I've owned now for 1.5 years, and I don't ride it, which is incredible. This motorcycle here has the same amount of miles that motorcycle has, and I did that all like a little over a month's time on the Harley, but this Indian has like 580 miles. This has like 500 and some odd miles. Beyond believable. If you go over my Triumph over here, I have 500 miles on that thing instantly. This here, not so much because these are all brand new. The whole point is the Indian, why is it that I have so-called from so many of my subscribers feel like this is the baddest ass bike you have, the best bike you have, the bike you should never sell, but I never ride the damn thing. Why is that? Well, I don't know. Even for me. I've crossed a bridge where I'm so sick of all the bagger bikes that I just kind of want something different. I mean, I really do. I just kind of want a different style. And if you've noticed, you've seen me go out and buy a Triumph Rocket. I would have told you a long time ago, that just isn't going to be who I am to ride a bike. Honda Goldwing, this is such the performance-oriented motorcycle with bags on it. It is so much fun. It's so comfortable. It's a great bike. I have to say, in many ways, the Honda Goldwing ruins it for so many other bikes because it's such a refined bike. I've talked about that numerous times. So I'm called the multi-brand guy by some, and I get that. And that's what I think to myself. It's incredible how we all have this view, how we think. You know, what's the definition of think? I mean, think is about how you process information of what you think is right versus wrong. Think can be what comes to you to think, I guess in some way makes you feel happier or not so happy. And we all know that there's such the branded products out there, the cars and motorcycles and trucks and SUVs, campers, boats, the list goes on and on and on, tractors. It's infinite. And we all get fixated on these branded vehicles. And some will say, oh, if you buy that Jeep, it's the biggest piece of junk in the world. I'd never own one of those things. They're junk. If you buy that Ford truck, Ford trucks are junk. I'd never own that Ford truck. They're junk. The Ram truck, I've heard so many times from people, oh, Ram trucks, those things fall apart as you get older. Those things are junk. Chevys are junk. I mean, you hear these critical comments from people, and it's like, where did that come from? Why? I've owned many Jeeps, and I've had incredible success stories every Jeep I've owned. Some be like, well, but you don't put a lot of miles on them. But it's a numbers game. If I've owned 10 different Wranglers in the last 10 years, wouldn't you think there'd been some failure rate out of those 10 vehicles, even though I didn't put 100,000 miles on them? The Ford products, I've owned so many Ford trucks in the last 5-6 years. Wouldn't you think from just all the vehicles and trucks I bought that at some point I get the lemon if they're all that much of a piece of a junk? This truck here has 44,000 miles on it. That truck's a great truck. I just bought a Ford Raptor 37. I already got 25,000 miles on it. I bought it with 23,000 miles on it. To me, this thing is pretty badass. I bought that Bronco. I'm now my 5th Bronco. So if the Ford product's such junk, this is my 2nd Jeep Gladiator. That's like my 5th, I'd have to just count. I'd say that's like the 5th Dodge Charger I've owned since 2015. And they've all, but I hear people comment on my YouTube channel that these Dodge products are junk. People laugh at my videos and saying those things are overpriced, bucket of bolts, they'll never last, and they're junk. I'm just like, wow, just why? Where did you get that thinking process? But I think to myself too, I guess it's the people buy a car that's a lemon, and there you go. They have the car that has all the faults, and so then you label it for the rest of your life. Some people think that I'm not the Indian guy anymore because of Indian Pursuit. That's not really the case. Totally, the case is more about I just want something different. It isn't that Indian isn't a good product. I just drove an FTR the other day. That thing, I'm not buying that bike. I got chased down by the police. That thing's no way. That's bad energy there. That's a warning to me. It's like, nah, that bike, no thanks, nope. And the way I think, sorry. Just like the Indian Pursuit. If I would have driven up the road and that bike would have shimmy and shaked, I'd be like, whoa, what the hell is this? But then the dealer would be like, oh yeah, we'll get that fixed for you. You can still buy it. Okay. Yeah, right. So the whole point is, I'm not thinking that Indian's not a good product. My way I think is I want something different. I want a new flair. And there's where the danger lies. That bike there, I could go buy anything I want, really, because that's got huge equity in it. And yeah, yikes, what's going on now, right? Wow, what's going on now? I think I'll get upstairs, kind of getting tired of walking around here, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm just wanting to show off the breakout, because it's all about the breakout today. And Monday's conversation was a breakout, because a week ago, coming Saturday, we were at the Harley dealership trying to buy a breakout, and we couldn't get it to go. And I had to really start to scratch my head and figure out what made sense, because I've been working on trying to buy the breakout for quite a while. And that's the thing. If you're watching my channel, you just should, say, okay, this guy's talking about the new Honda Goldwing. Yeah, there you go. I want a new Honda Goldwing. I finally pulled it off. I've been thinking about the Triumph for quite a while. You guys don't really know that as much as I do. Finally pulled it off. The kid's been bugging me to buy a 2-stroke bike for like the last two plus years. Finally pulled it off. I've been wanting a Raptor 37 truck, and I finally pulled it off. I've always wanted a really badass looking F-250 truck. My kids always wanted the F-250 truck, lifted, big tires, wheels, suspension. She's always wanted that. Well, guess what? I picked it up. As far as the other vehicles out here, I wasn't so much fixated on, per se, the Dodge Charger Super Bee, but that kind of played out by accident. You go down there, I just talked about it earlier. I've got the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. I've always wanted one of those. I finally pulled it off. So kind of going through the collection here, it's been an incredible 2023 year, and at some point, I'm going to have to get out and really write down what the year has been. But I figured that'd be like next week's conversation, at the end of the year conversations, because we could go through the videos and collections of all the deals that I've done in the last year, this past year, which even for me to think that in January I said it would be nothing close to the year of 2022 of buying 30 vehicles in 1 year. And that included motorcycles and cars. So it was a lot of things besides just all cars. So keep that in mind. And here we are. What do we think of the future of the Dodge product that I seriously felt would be an incredibly valuable car, and so many be clamoring to get these that they would be worth a lot of money, and now that's waning. I truly think that has all changed. And then here's the dark horse, which I'm just really taken back that this really is a really cool car, and I'm so glad that I went a different direction, because the one I ordered was not the performance package or the manual. And I just feel like that was the better decision. I think that's the whole thing. Think. Let's get up here, see the dogs, and see what Kiefer's done to my office. Has he destroyed anything? Keefy boy, the kid will all be upset at me because I took our little boy away from her, but I couldn't get him to stay in the house. So, oh yeah, he's having fun. Look at that. He's already taken his revenge out. So last night, I had to dig through files and files. Hey, don't do that. You're eating cotton now. See, it doesn't end. When I have the dog up here like this, it's very challenging. Good Ginger. Don't let him eat that. There's the Ginger dog protecting it. Don't let him eat the cotton. Wouldn't need that happening. So, all right. Phone put down. Oh my gosh. There's the ongoing. Whoops. There you go. Watch out, pups. Thinking conversation. Did you get scared of the dog here? We're all scared. What's that all about, right? So, yesterday, I was wanting to share with everybody the Wild Track that I bought, that I special ordered back in, it's hard for me to see what you're seeing. So, this is the Wild Track that I special ordered. It took me 2 years to get it. And what's the price there? 60 grand. And it's a more optioned out Wild Track than the one I just bought. So it's 60 grand. This is 2022. Look right here. You see that? Hey, stop it. 2022 Ford Bronco. And this one here is a 2023. And look at the price difference. So it's like a $6,000 price difference for the 2023. You know, it's interesting. So this was a dealer ordered car. This was not a special order because it's a blue. The green means it's that it's special order, I guess. So if you look at the, it's hard for you to see all this stuff, but some 2022 model year to 2023 model year, I mean, that's something to keep in mind. I was honored at 21 pricing because mine didn't come in. So is it really the 2022 pricing? Could it be $2 grand more? I think it could be. So, sorry, everybody. Kind of, in some ways, like, Jesus Christ, get the day going, man. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Getting worn out, man. So I was, and then here's the other thing. Just to show you how crazy it is. So here's my two-door Bronco. If you watched my video, I mean, my daughter was at first wanting the two-door Bronco, carbonized with the magnetic, the silver, and that was the same price as the most part as that four-door, which I was taken back. The reason I was taken back is I had a pretty well set up two-door Bronco, and look how much that thing is. I mean, that's the 2022 two-door Cyber Yellow. And so 10 grand difference because this wasn't optioned out. Oh, so it's a 2021. So there you go. So this is 2021. So from 2021 to 2023, the price is 10 grand more. I mean, oh my gosh. What do you think of that? What is going on? I mean, so that's the reason this morning I'm wanting to show this, because I'm just thinking to myself, I'm sure so many people, I think that we forget things. I just think people forget. But right now I'm looking at what the difference of the um, the cars are, and it's just incredible how it's just incredible how much more optioned out my other first Bronco was, and yet it was in so many ways $6 grand less. But it's more than that, because that Bronco doesn't have adaptive cruise control. That Bronco doesn't have the Zero Gray I'm talking about. That one doesn't have the towing trailer package. So you could easily add back in. So towing capability in 2022 was $595. It doesn't even have that on here. The brush guard, there's not even one on here. That was $300. Let's see here. Storage bag, I had the top door storage bags. That was $350. And a front modular bumper, that was $825. Does this one have the front? No, it does not. Wow. So once again, what is going on? I mean, why? You're talking about, it's in some ways it's 2 model years, but in other ways it's only a 1 model year, and you're talking $6,000 difference. But it's not. It's more of like an $8,000 difference of that vehicle. What happened? What has become so much more expensive within a 2-year time frame? And then the 2-door Bronco, it is every bit of $10,000 more from a 2021 to, because I didn't option out the Cyber Orange. It's called Cyber Orange. I call it Cyber Yellow. Cyber Orange. So it's a 10 grand. Why? I mean, what do you think's going on? And that's once again my thoughts were where we are in today's society. What do we think is going on? And I truly believe, I think the ICE age is, I've talked about it before, is having to supplement the EV age. I truly believe the manufacturers are abusing the policies of charging the ICE people to create the EV age, because they see how expensive it is to transition to that type of product. And the number one thing that it's a whole article in the Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg. I was reading a Bloomberg article last night at 2 a.m, and over in China, the electric infrastructure of cars is massive. It's massive. They're already predicting by 2026, half of the cars sold in China new will be electric vehicles. And they have like 2.1 million charging stations in China. This is a whole article that was written about the demise of the oil in China, that where everything's going is you're going to see the use of, China has been a huge challenge for the world oil markets because it's been gobbling up so much oil for so long, and it's had a huge impact on the pricing of oil. And they're talking about how the day of China being the biggest, one of the bigger growing countries of using oil is going to come to a crossroads and very shortly, and it's because electric vehicle infrastructure is going to take that away. But what's interesting also is the amount of electrical plants that are being built to charge these electric vehicles. 60% of the growth is coal-powered plants. But here's the point of that. The number one thing that the Chinese are offering the consumer there is a less expensive way to get around. And that's the driving force. The article talks about people aren't buying electric cars because of environmental. They're buying electric cars because it's less expensive in China per se to own and maintain. So as I've talked about it numerous times, on how people, why would you buy an electric car? And I think the number one answer will be because I don't have to go to the gas station anymore. And I've talked about that. People are probably sick of hearing me say it. So there you go. There's an article of China. So it was basically talking about how in China, how the dominance of electric vehicles will probably be the biggest, most advanced is China, but it's spreading to other countries in the world. And with that, what's going on is this Biden administration, I talked about it yesterday, is having to keep the tariffs on these electric Chinese cars because they're so much more affordable that this country can't build. And so right now, apparently, the tariff on a Chinese car is 27.1%. I thought it was 25%. So it's 27.1%. And they're going to keep that in place. But the other thing that goes along with that is, sorry for drinking in front of you, but got to get some water here. So the other thing is, all the components of these vehicles are being made. The Biden administration has rewritten the language. Come on, Will, go lay down. Go lay down, buddy. You just want to be buddies this morning. They've rewritten the language on how you get these tax credits of $7,500, depending on how much materials are China-based. And if you have a Chinese-built car, you don't get any tax credits. So for Cadillac, Volvo, and I believe Ford or somebody else out there, their next generation electric cars are pretty much China-built cars. So you're not going to get that tax incentive. And that's what they claim is a big driving force that people buy electric cars well, because it gives them the opportunity. I didn't show you my Harley Davidson brand new mug, did I? The guy's drinking the Kool-Aid, man. I'm drinking the Harley Davidson Kool-Aid. See that there, right? Yeah, hey, Harley Davidson is the best motorcycle you could ever buy. Just look at me, right? Yeah. Should I be doing advertising for him? Yeah. So the another driving point, people think it's a great idea to buy an electric car because you get a $75 tax deduction. Well, that's true if the majority of the parts are not Chinese made. And yesterday I talked about this as well, and I talked about it a bunch of times here, last few days, is on how I truly believe Joe Biden has created the trap upon this country of being Chinese dominant because of the whole infrastructure that we're following the Chinese. That is going to force this country to accept that the Chinese made products and infrastructure is going to probably be the only way that it'll be ever really take off sooner than later, because of the Chinese influence of all the materials that are required to bring electric cars, electric batteries to the real market. Then BYD, Build Your Dream, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway, major investments in that company, and they're growing by leaps and bounds. And I've talked about it as well. They're trying to get into Mexico right now. BYD is aggressively going to set up shop in Mexico so they can start getting access through Mexico to get their cars in our country. And so the Biden administration, to me, it just cracks me up. Here's Joe Biden, and it's supposedly wizards of the day that think they know the future of our country, and they think they know the best thing for our country. They've set up the IRA, Inflation Reduction Act, to entice so many to set up the government-assisted funded business model of building electric batteries and solar panels and semiconductors and electric cars. And from the get-go, it's like, but do you think that the other countries are just going to sit around and let their technologies and their wealth be stripped from them because we just become our own independent country of manufacturing things? I'm just thinking, there's no way. It's not going to happen. You're kidding yourself. I mean, it's so different than anybody here that has a job that wants to see somebody else set up shop right in front of them and do the same job they're doing. What are you going to do? Are you going to just sit back and not do anything? So the whole point of this is the Chinese are going to dominate this country, I think, of the future transportation sector, manufacturing, because of the Chinese are so much more advanced than we are, and they have a better infrastructure. And for us to start to try to create a whole new infrastructure here, which we haven't been doing at all, and to compete against them, I just can't see how we'll be on the same level playing field of manufacturing these technologies that'll be competitive in the world. And Joe Biden's way to address this is by forcing high tariffs on goods that come to our country to supplement just what this country is trying to accomplish on its own. So I just think it's you think, wow, can anybody see the future? That's the problem. We have so many people that are now today in power that have agendas that think they know the future. And that's what aggravates so many people that have common sense that knows you don't know the future. And you're arguing with somebody about things that you just will turn blue in your face on what is going on. And that's a huge challenge today. More than ever is we have so many that think that these ICE cars are the whole reason this whole world's going to come to a meltdown, and it's going to be, just the meltdown of Earth and mankind. I mean, I'm not here to argue that the carbon footprint can have impact on the environment, but I think that most of us here can all agree that you have to take it through the learning process of the proper steps and procedures, just like in China. Everybody's electrifying their car through coal power plants. I mean, what's being accomplished? As I just said, the most dominant thing you hear on people who buy electric vehicle is they don't have to buy gas. I don't think, and also the technology that was also spoken of is what's driving the younger generation to electric vehicles is, hey, stop it, is the don't have to buy gas, but the other big thing is they like the technology of the vehicle. Come on, Will. So I got all the troublemakers here underneath my feet. That's what's going on. We're going to hang out with the Iceman, and they're fighting for their little comfort spot here to be with good old Daddy. And so, as the kids probably just burrowing inside, Dad took the dog out. He took my dog out. I can't believe it, right? Yeah, the love of the dog. Oh, stop it. So, now think about this. So, Nippon Steel, is it? I'm going to get my phone out. And let's see here. Got to do my thing. So, Nippon Steel is to acquire U.S. Steel for $14.1 billion. So, a Japanese-owned major steel manufacturer is supposed to acquire the 122-year-old U.S. Steel. That's the Dale Carnegie Day. It's the J.P. Morgan and the Dale Carnegie era that was the true industrial revolution and beginnings of our country. And right now, a lot of our senators and congressmen are raising their eyebrows and saying, really? We're going to let the Japan-based manufacturing of some of the Toyota, one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, they're going to let a Japanese company come in and buy up a U.S. branded product that's been in our country for over 122 years. I'll just show you right here on my phone if you can see it. It takes a second for it to kind of come into thing there. So it's very concerning. Apparently, John Fetterman is wanting to be told by this company and other senators too in Pennsylvania. They're very concerned for the Pennsylvania manufacturing of steel. Apparently, they have written a letter to this company. What is their plans for the union steelworkers? So should they buy this? Should the government approve the Japanese buying the biggest U.S. steelmaker in the country? What is the well-being of the American workers and especially the union workers? And I'm sure most people will be like, yeah, they're going to be getting a notice to stay home today, probably. But I don't know. It's all debatable. But what's your thinking process on this? I mean, we're witnessing with this electric EV agenda, the green agenda, are we? I mean, I'm not the expert here by any means. I mean, I'm always open for people like, you're kind of taking a little radical. I'd be like, yeah, I'd like to hear views. But, I mean, are we really, in so many ways, becoming the country more than ever? And we always have been Chinese dependent. So I don't think it'd be appropriate to say, oh, well, with the new electric vehicles, China is going to dominate us. Well, in so many ways, China already does dominate us, but they're going to dominate us more. So that's really more of my question would be is what is going to be what do you think is going to be the end result if the Japanese get control of the U.S. steel? Besides, is this a maneuver for Toyota? Is this a maneuver for the Japanese to see that they are going to set up electric vehicle manufacturing more so, the hybrid, whatever it may be, because of all these government entitlements for the green agenda, the IRA, and it helps them build stronger infrastructure to be more competitive in our own backyard. Being they have now the control of the steel pricing in so many ways. But there's other steel manufacturers are still going to be in business, but does it create the demise for other steelmakers that runs them out of business? And that's what would be more concerning. It's going to be the other little guys. Can they get through this big conglomerate that's a worldwide known manufacturer? So, what is your thoughts on that? As you know, it's I've said it many times lately. It just seems ironic that we have a government right now that in so many ways seems to be undermining our own country in so many. I mean, and right, I think it's been going on for many, many years. So I think I would be a fool to want to say on my channel that since Joe Biden came into office, this is now the real undermining of our country. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the future of the green agendas and the policies administration's passing, I think that it's going to create more of an undermining of our own country because it's really toe healing off of the Chinese, which is the electric vehicle infrastructure and electric battery infrastructure, the lithium, the mining. But now the big news is the solid state battery, which uses a solid electrolyte versus the lithium ion battery uses a liquid electrolyte. So they're saying that the real future is a more stable solid state battery because it's a solid electrolyte versus you have the lithium ion style battery is a liquid electrolyte. But it's really years away from them really mastering how to build these solid state batteries to be competitive with the existing technology batteries. And so the point of that is the goal is to get off the reliance of all this mining of these materials that are needed to build electric batteries and electric cars. So there it is. Kind of leave it at that. What I'm up to next? Oh, I don't know. I mean, there is another possibility. Yeah, if I can get motivated, Jesus Christ, you go on these long day adventures, man. You get back in, it's just like, oh my gosh. So, what is the next adventure? Yeah, does it happen today? Stay tuned. What do you think I'm doing next? Yeah, has the Iceman lost it? I think he has. Are you Santa Claus this year for yourself? Hey, everybody, have a great day. God bless. Stay tuned. There may be some more adventures coming your way.